The Galactic Council had already decided the outcome before the meeting began. In the vast chamber of Station Prime, ancient species gathered beneath artificial stars, their towering platforms and glowing containment fields symbols of civilizations that had ruled space for millennia. To them, the coming war was a matter of calculation, not morality. The enemy armada advancing across the outer systems was powerful, disciplined, and relentless. Resistance, the elders agreed, would be inefficient. Surrender was logical. At the lowest tier sat the human delegation. Ambassador Elias Rook remained silent as reports scrolled across holographic displays. Colonies falling, defenses erased, entire systems brought to heel. Around him, alien counselors spoke with detached precision, discussing evacuation quotas and acceptable loss margins. Millions of lives were reduced to figures, entire worlds dismissed as strategically expendable. When Rook finally stood, the chamber grew quiet, not from respect but curiosity. Those systems contain human colonies, he said evenly. Families, cities, children. What defense is being deployed? A senior counselor replied without hesitation. None. Evacuation of essential assets has already been approved. Rook felt the words land like a physical blow. And the rest? An uncomfortable pause followed. Then came the answer humanity would never forget. Survival of the greater galaxy must take precedence. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. To these ancient species, humanity was young, barely spacefaring, inexperienced, naive. Their concerns were tolerated, not valued. One counselor even offered reassurance, explaining that extinction, while regrettable, was sometimes necessary to preserve galactic stability. Rook realized then that the Council did not fear the enemy armada. They feared war. They had grown comfortable in centuries of uncontested dominance, protected by treaties, technology, and the assumption that someone else would always bleed first. Humanity, born on a world of constant struggle, saw the truth instantly. Peace had made them weak. We will not abandon our people, Rook said, his voice steady but cold. Humanity will defend its colonies. The chamber erupted, not in outrage but laughter. With what fleet? One counselor asked mockingly. Your species possesses no meaningful military force. Rook did not argue. He did not threaten. He simply turned and walked out, ignoring the dismissive gestures and amused chatter behind him. Diplomatic protocol shattered with every step, but none of it mattered anymore. Within minutes, a sealed transmission left Station Prime, bypassing every council channel and restriction. It was addressed to one destination only, Earth Command. The message was short. The Council has chosen surrender. Our colonies are condemned. Requesting immediate activation. On Earth, deep beneath reinforced mountains and orbital shipyards hidden from alien sensors, dormant systems came alive. Lights ignited across massive hulls. Crews were summoned. Weapons unlocked. For 50 years, humanity had prepared in silence. The galaxy believed victory was inevitable. That belief was about to die. Earth did not debate the message. There was no emergency summit, no hesitation, no question of whether intervention was justified. The moment Ambassador Rook's transmission reached Earth Command, long-dormant protocols activated automatically. Across the planet and its colonies, encrypted orders flashed through military networks that had never officially existed. Hidden shipyards awakened. Deep within asteroid belts, beneath lunar shadows and inside hollowed moons, armored docks disengaged their camouflage fields. Massive warships, angular, dark, and unmistakably functional, powered up for the first time in decades. Humanity had learned early that survival in a hostile universe required preparation, not permission. Fleet Admiral Mara Vance stood at the center of Earth Command's operations ring, surrounded by holographic projections of hundreds of vessels coming online. Carriers, dreadnoughts, strike cruisers, escort wings. The scale of it would have horrified the Galactic Council, if they had known. They think we're helpless, a general muttered. They think we're harmless, Vance replied. That mistake ends today. Humanity had not built its fleet to intimidate. It had built it to endure. Every hull was layered for kinetic impact. Every crew trained under gravity conditions that crippled most species. Weapons favored reliability over elegance. Rail cannons, mass drivers, guided fusion payloads, systems designed to function even while damaged and burning. Within hours, Earth's skies filled with departing ships. From orbital elevators and concealed launch bays, the Armada assembled in silent precision. No speeches were broadcast. No declarations issued. The message was not meant for morale. It was meant for survival. As the fleet formed, Admiral Vance addressed her commanders across a secure channel. "We are outnumbered. We are expected to fail. That assumption is our greatest weapon. We are not going to fight the way they expect. We will fight the way we always have." She paused, letting centuries of human history sit unspoken between them. "We protect our own. At any cost." The Armada jumped to faster-than-light in staggered waves, space-time bending violently around engines pushed far beyond what the Council deemed safe. To alien observers, such acceleration would have meant crushed crews and structural collapse. To humans, it was simply another stress to endure. Far away, enemy fleets tightened their siege lines around the outer colonies. They saw no reason to hurry. Intelligence reports insisted the humans were incapable of mounting a response. Victory was a matter of patience. Then sensors began reporting anomalies. Energy spikes. Mass signatures. Too many to classify. As the first human warships tore out of FTL at the edge of the contested system, the enemy commanders stared at their displays in disbelief. This was not a token force. This was not desperation. It was an organized, disciplined armada. And it was moving fast. For the first time since the campaign began, uncertainty spread through alien ranks. The assumption of inevitable victory fractured as human vessels advanced in perfect formation, weapons charging, drives burning hot. The galaxy was about to witness a kind of warfare it had long forgotten. One born on a death world. The first exchange shattered every doctrine the alien armada believed unbreakable. Human ships did not slow to establish defensive screens. They accelerated. Engines burned far beyond standard combat limits, pushing vessels into attack vectors the enemy's targeting algorithms could not predict. To species accustomed to cautious, ceremonial warfare, it looked like madness. It was calculated violence. Alien plasma batteries opened fire, flooding space with radiant arcs meant to overwhelm shields. Human ships responded not with energy barriers but with motion. Dense clouds of metallic countermeasures burst outward, fragmenting plasma streams while rail cannons thundered in return. Solid projectiles, simple, brutal, punched through shields designed to disperse heat, tearing hulls apart with unstoppable momentum. The first alien cruiser split in half before its commander could issue a retreat order. Shock rippled through the enemy formation. Their weapons were superior by every theoretical measure, yet their ships were dying faster than sensors could process. Human vessels pressed forward, dividing into multiple attack prongs, exploiting gaps with ruthless efficiency. Each movement echoed ancient naval tactics refined across centuries of human conflict. Admiral Vance watched the battle unfold without celebration. Casualty reports streamed across her display, ships lost, crews gone, but the advance never slowed. Where another species might have disengaged at 10% losses, humans adapted. Target priorities shifted. Weapon cycles adjusted. Damaged ships were reassigned rather than withdrawn. "This isn't a duel," Vance said quietly. "It's a hunt." Boarding alarms began sounding across alien vessels. Human assault craft launched in waves, small and fast, slamming into enemy hulls with explosive clamps. Marines breached through burning corridors, gravity fluctuations barely slowing them. On low-gravity decks, alien defenders struggled to stand while humans moved with terrifying speed and force. Combat reports described the same pattern again and again. Alien soldiers fired first. Human soldiers closed distance. The fights ended quickly. Within the hour, multiple enemy command ships went dark. Coordination collapsed. Orders contradicted one another as human strikes severed communication nodes and logistics vessels. The alien armada, built for dominance through numbers and intimidation, had never trained for sustained resistance against an opponent that refused to break. A transmission finally broke through the chaos, broadcast on every open frequency. An alien commander demanded terms, his voice fractured with disbelief. "You are outmatched. You cannot win this." Admiral Vance responded personally. Her image appeared across enemy displays, unarmored, expression steady. "We don't need to win," she said. "We just need you to stop." The reply was laughter, brittle and forced. Minutes later, another alien capital ship detonated as its reactor failed under kinetic overload. The laughter ended. Retreat signals flickered across the alien fleet, uneven and panicked. Ships attempted to flee, colliding with one another as human vessels pursued without mercy. Escape corridors became kill zones. Every second the enemy hesitated, they paid in wreckage. By the time the surviving alien forces finally broke contact, the battlefield told a story the galaxy would never forget. The Deathworlders had arrived outnumbered, underestimated, and dismissed. They had left behind silence, debris, and a shattered myth of inevitable victory. And the war was far from over. The aftermath spread faster than any weapon. Wreckage from the defeated armada drifted across the system, burning fragments scattering like warning flares visible to every long-range sensor in nearby space. For the first time in recorded galactic history, a coalition force had been repelled not by superior numbers or ancient technology, but by a species the archives still labeled developing. Emergency councils convened within hours. Observers replayed combat footage in stunned silence, watching human ships accelerate beyond accepted limits, watching infantry overpower enemies twice their size, watching commanders adapt mid-battle instead of clinging to doctrine. Analysts searched desperately for hidden superweapons and found none. There was no secret miracle. Only preparation, endurance, and a refusal to retreat. Admiral Vance ordered her fleet to hold position rather than pursue the fleeing survivors beyond the system edge. Medships moved among damaged vessels. Rescue teams recovered escape pods, human and alien alike. That decision alone sent shockwaves through intelligence channels. The Deathworlders, victorious and furious, were still obeying rules of war. On the flagship's bridge, casualty numbers finalized. The losses were severe by any standard. Entire crews had vanished into vacuum. Ships lay crippled beyond recovery. Yet no voice argued that the cost had been too high. Every officer understood what had been prevented, the extinction of uncounted worlds that would have fallen next. A final transmission arrived from the alien high command, stripped of threats and pride. They requested negotiations under neutral arbitration. The same leaders who had promised inevitable victory now spoke of coexistence and restraint. Vance allowed herself a slow breath before responding. "We will talk," she said. "But understand this. You don't get to decide when war ends after you start it." The message was received and obeyed. Across the galaxy, reactions ranged from awe to fear. Younger species felt hope ignite for the first time in generations. Older empires felt something far more unsettling: vulnerability. The balance of power had shifted, not because humanity sought dominance, but because they had demonstrated capability beyond expectation. Historians would later mark this battle as a turning point. Not the beginning of human expansion, but the end of universal complacency. The moment when survival was no longer guaranteed by age or prestige alone. On Earth, news feeds showed images of battered ships returning home under escort, crews exhausted but unbowed. Crowds gathered in silence, not to celebrate conquest, but to honor endurance. Names of the fallen were broadcast across continents, spoken with reverence rather than triumph. In her private log, Admiral Vance recorded a single line before powering down her console. "We did not prove we were strongest. We proved we were unwilling to surrender what mattered." Long after the debris fields faded and treaties were signed, one truth remained embedded in every strategic archive across the stars. Victory was never inevitable. Not when Deathworlders answered the call.